Hey guys, welcome back to another day. If you're new to me, I'm Lisa, a fat foodie on a wellness adventure to lose 150 pounds and get fit enough to travel back to New Zealand for 6 months come 2024. I want to see and do all the things, so I'm dedicated to making that happen. Shall we get started? Welcome back. So today is Sunday, and it is cloudy and overcast, which perfectly fine with me. It's actually great weather for staying home, and I'm going to turn today into an experiments in eating day. If you've been with me a while, you know that I like ordering from either Yummy Buy or We, which are some international Asian supermarkets, and getting stuff that I can't find here, trying out new recipes, new sauces, new noodles. I'm a big Noodle Bowl fan. And one of the things that I've found, and I will say, is that a lot of the kits that I buy are, in all honesty, too spicy for me. I made a video recently and oh my gosh, I tried just a tiny bit of the seasoning paste and it like set my face on fire. Oh my goodness, it was just crazy hot. So if I don't use the seasoning paste, a lot of times I like the noodles and I put a ton of vegetables and things in there. But today I was going through the pantry and I have a bunch of stuff that I've bought that I haven't really sat down and tried working with. So we are going to try a whole bunch of stuff today. One of the things is I have a lot of different noodle types that if I make my own broth or soup base and then add my veggies and everything, I'm good to go. So I wanted to show you some of the noodles that I have. When I was doing WW Purple or like Simply Filling or Core, brown rice whole grain noodles were $0. And so I bought a whole bunch of these. Amazon had like 6 boxes they had a special. So I have a whole bunch of the My Fun brown rice noodles. And you can see those are quite a thin, fine, almost like a vermicelli noodle. And then other thin noodles. These are actually... turn this over. This is kids' vegetable noodles. So they are sweet potato, spinach, and carrot noodles. And these, I have never tried these before. They're really fine as well. And I think, my guess is that they are going to be almost like an instant noodle that's going to cook very quickly. I don't know though, but that's my guess on them. In that same order, I found some Moringa Pad Thai rice noodles. So they look like this. They're basically, Pad Thai noodles are just about as wide as, say, like an Italian fettuccine. And ingredient-wise, it's just brown rice and moringa powder. I don't actually know what moringa is. Does this tell us? No. Not really. So I will look that up and see what that is, but I always like trying new things. And then I have like just some plain, these are just plain, this is a thick, wide rice noodle. And this is sort of more your standard rice noodle. And I have some that are like this as well, that are super fine. Now the last thing, and I'm going to try this today. This kit I bought because it looked like they were really wide. Like these are almost wide like hot pot noodles. And I have a feeling. So this is potato board noodles with a sesame soup base. The noodles themselves are potato starch, tapioca starch, and cornstarch. And the seasoning sauce has a tahini base, but I see chili in there. And this might be a perfect example of something that sounded good and then it's too hot. It does have a vinegar pack, a vegetable pack, and a spicy oil pack. So normally I just take the spicy oil packs out, but I don't even know that I can use the seasoning pack. So this I'm going to have today for lunch, and I'll either use what's in here or get a chance to use what I'm going to make. All right, so that's the noodles. I'm going to do a couple of different things in terms of making. What I want to do is make like a soup base, or like a ramen stock base, and then freeze it so that with all of these types of noodles, I can basically just unfreeze a portion and have that with whatever noodle I want to pair it with. So I'm going to try a couple of different things today. I was having a look around and I had some white miso with tamarind. Now, I know this looks kind of weird. This is actually the Knorr tamarind soup mix. This, I have to say, is like my absolute favorite. If you aren't familiar with tamarind, it's sour like lime juice. And so if you like sour or acidity like that in something, gosh, this is so, so, so good. And I just had an extra Kinder's container, and so I just put it in there. Now, tamarind and miso together is pretty common. There's actually, I've linked to a recipe that has the more traditional, like Filipino soup that has that in there. With that, I'm going to use, I have some green onion stems that are a little on the wrinkly side here, but once you put them in soup, that's not going to make any difference. So I'm going to use some of those. And then I'm going to try something completely new, which are dried shiitake mushrooms. I picked these up at my international market. And one thing to note about them that I did find I was reading about how to sort of rehydrate them. And one thing that seemed to be commonly said on a lot of the Asian or fusion cooking sites was that for as many people as they tell you to throw them in boiling water, you can make them tough or chewy if you do that. And so the recommendation was to soak them in cold water for an hour first, and then put them into your soup stock. Basically, putting boiling water on them causes them to contract, the fiber structure to contract, and kind of, it shucks them into, and then you end up with tough, chewy mushrooms. So I thought that was interesting. So I'm going to soak these for an hour in cold water first. All right. Then I'm also going to try, I had picked up some scallion and ginger cooking wine. And I was thinking, what do I want to do with that? And I think I'm going to do a chicken base. So this is some organic chicken stock from Aldi. And it doesn't have a whole lot of flavor on its own, so I'm actually going to add some chicken consommé to that, and that's basically just a powdered chicken bouillon. You'll see it a lot in a lot of Latino foods and sometimes in Chinese cuisine. Then I'm going to add these little guys. So if you're not familiar with this, this is a garlic scape. And basically, if garlic and chives had a baby, this would kind of be what it tastes like to me. So these I've never seen in any of my stores here. I can only ever get them from Misfit Market. So I'm going to put those in there. So I'll have the garlic scapes, the scallion ginger wine, and a chicken base. So that will be the second one. And then this I found a long time ago, and it's just been sitting on my shelf kind of waiting for me to do something with it. So I thought that that looked really interesting. And if we look on the back, it says it's a ginseng and sea coconut soup. So our ingredients are sea coconut, ginseng, almond. Now see, I have no idea how you say that. Is that huaishan? Huaishan? In a jujube and dried orange peel. Please feel free to correct my pronunciation. Otherwise, I'm going to look it up just because I want to know. But anyway, this, they say, is good for all kinds of body recovery. And they basically tell you to rinse everything, and then you can add some ginger meat if you want, and boil at high for 2 to 3 hours. So I'm going to try a couple of things today. I'm going to do all of these in the Instant Pot. I did find a recipe that gave me timing on those, and for the most part, it said to cook them for 20 minutes on low pressure and then let it natural release, which will normally take another 20 minutes. And then taste it, and if it's not concentrated enough, then you can put it on for, another 20 minutes. And a lot of times when I'm doing like a chicken bone broth or a beef bone broth, it's like having it on a low simmer on the stove. So that's what I'm going to try. I'm going to start 20 minutes, low pressure, natural release with each of these, and we'll see what happens. Now, the last thing that I'm going to do today is I had found a tea egg spice pack. Now, tea eggs, basically you either do a soft-boiled or a hard-boiled egg, and then you crack the shell a little bit, and then you marinate the eggs so that this seasoning soaks in through the cracks and you get this gorgeous marbled egg. So this particular one is salt, sugar, star anise, prickly ash powder. I don't know that I've ever cooked with prickly ash. Dried ginger, cinnamon, fennel, clove, white pepper, and then, of course, your MSG. So I kind of read what it was saying here, but I did actually look up online as well how to do this. And most of the places say you're just going to get your eggs however you want them cooked. And I want a jammy egg, so I'm going to do soft boiled basically. And then you let this cook for varying times. I guess the longer you let it cook, the stronger it becomes. And then you put the slightly cracked eggs in there, and you can let them soak anywhere from overnight, which will give you a very, very little amount of soaking in there, to up to about 5 days, and that will give you a really, really dark. So I'm going to try, I think I'm going to cook, let's do 6, and let's do 2 of them at overnight, 2 of them for 3 days, 2 of them for 5 days, and see what the difference is. I mean, this is all experiments, right? Okay, so once I get one of these on and started, I think I'm going to have some of the rice pudding I made yesterday. I'll throw a link for that video up in the corner here, and then I'm just going to potter along and do this for the day. Let's see what we end up with. I'm kind of excited. I'm kind of excited to take you guys along with me on this today because there's so much stuff in here that I haven't tried before. Okay, so I have some of the shiitake mushrooms just sitting in some cold water. And so that is what we look like normally. Okay, it's just a dry out. Okay, so it breaks apart like you'd expect, pretty easily. It doesn't really have any snap to it. Let's see what it smells like. So, how to describe that? That is probably more woodsy, I guess you could say, than a normal like Bella mushroom. It's definitely very earthy, woodsy kind of thing. And then you can see I haven't had these in there that long, but it's already, as they start to sort of rebloom, a lot of that is infused into the liquid in there. And they say to definitely use that soaking liquid in your stock because it has all of that great umami mushroom flavor in there. So that's the first thing. I've got those. I'm going to set those aside for about an hour. You can soak them longer, but that's where I'm going to start. Okay, and then speaking of smelling good, I opened this. I just spent a bit of time looking for how long you're supposed to cook your spices for to kind of make your broth. And this is about half of that bag. So I have the other part of that in there because I'm going to do 6 eggs. I don't know. I couldn't really find a whole lot of information. I did find a recipe for cooking the eggs and making the stock in the Instant Pot. And basically in the water that you put to steam the eggs, you go ahead and put this in there. Then you take your eggs out, you drop them in an ice bath to stop the cooking, you crack them, and then basically you pour this into a container to do your marination. So first, I gotta tell you, this smells amazing. It's like, gosh, so you can smell the pepper in it, but it's not like make you sneeze kind of smell. And, you know, with the ginger and clove, you have this slightly sweet sort of thing. And then you've got the white pepper and sugar. All right. Should we taste it? I don't know that you should necessarily be like, let's see. Okay, besides the fact that that probably had quite a bit of salt in there, that's really good. Oh, I think these eggs are going to be fantastic. I'm almost tempted to, from what I was reading, once you make the stock, you can, as long as your eggs are pretty clean when you put them in, and you make sure to use a clean spoon when you're getting them out, you can reuse the stock. So given that that smells so good and tastes really good, I think I'm going to do the whole thing. All right, so that's the pack of that. This is why we call it experiments. All right, now I did some research. This, check those out, that's our soup here. So what did I find out? Oh, by the way, it's Juju, not Jujube. The B is silent. So Juju are these. They're basically like a Chinese date. And there were 2 of those in there. This, let me see if I can get that to, oh, it doesn't want to focus. So this is a type of yam. And it doesn't really smell like anything. And then let's see. So then we have pieces of the sea coconut. Again, doesn't really smell like anything. Then we have some ginseng. Let me see if I can just get one piece. All right. So there's our ginseng. That smells kind of similar to the shiitakes, actually. It has that sort of earthy smell to it. And then there are the almonds and what else? Oh, and there were a couple of pieces of dried orange peel. So I'm thinking that this is going to end up tasting like a tea. I just don't expect it to have a whole lot of flavor. But what I'm going to do with this is, let's see, put water in a pot. I'm just reading the instructions. Bear with me a second here. Low heat, 2 to 3 hours. Okay. Yeah. So let me see. I think with this, I think I am going to cook this one the longest because I think it's going to be the weakest in flavor otherwise. So I think I'll put this one on a little bit later in the day. And I'll start it soaking in some water now, but then I'll actually cook it probably last. I'm really excited to try this tea egg. So I'm going to do this first. I'm going to put this in the Instant Pot with a cup of water, and then, well, let me show you how to do the soft-boiled eggs in the Instant Pot. All right, so from everything I was reading, there are 2 important things to remember when you are making eggs in the Instant Pot, if you want soft boiled especially. And that is to use cold water and cold eggs. So I went ahead and added a cup and a half cold water to that seasoning mix. I am completely guessing in terms of how much water to put in there. So that was my guess. You want it to be strong enough that it imparts some flavor, because it's really only going to go into the cracks in the egg. So let's see. See, it's quite dark. All right. So that's pretty much what it looks like. Let's see. Ooh, salty. So that's like a, it's very nice. It's like soy sauce with pepper. It's good. Okay, so here's how you do these eggs. Pot liner, trivet. If you have an egg stand, great. If you don't, just use the trivet. And so basically it was saying to make sure everything's cold. Your pot needs to be cold. Your liquid needs to be cold. Your eggs need to be cold. And that's because we're only going to cook them for a very short time. I'll show you how the Chef IQ that I use says to do it. And basically it's going to be 2 minutes at low pressure. Now I did check on a couple of other sites, and a lot of them say 1 minute at low pressure and then a 1 minute natural release. The Chef IQ recommends 2 minutes and a quick release. I think it's probably very similar. The other difference is that because I'm using duck eggs, so these are from my local farmer, because I'm using duck eggs, I'm not worried if the timing is not quite exact, because when I go to heat them back up again to have them in the ramen bowl, it will, if they're a little bit underdone, it'll actually give me more leeway if the white needs to cook just a little bit more. So I'm happy to just try it exactly what the Chef IQ says, and we'll see what happens. And then, like I said, we're going to do this marinade 3 different durations, and we'll see what we've got. So I'm going to, let's pour this liquid in here. I might need my other hand because there's a lot in the bottom there. So let me do this and get those eggs in there, and then I'll show you what the Chef IQ says. Okay, so in the Chef IQ app, in the time and temperature settings, we're going to go into eggs, and you can choose hard, medium, or soft boiled. Now they recommend steaming, but in this particular case, because I'm trying to cook the broth at the same time, I'm going to actually choose pressure cook. And I've got 6 eggs in there. Okay, so let's see what this says. So under pressure, quick release. It's estimating an 8-minute build-up time and then a 2-minute cook time on low pressure. And like I said, that is very similar to what I was seeing online. Keep warm off. So we're going to go next. Wants you to add a cup of liquid. So I've added a cup and a half because I want a little bit more marinade there. And then prepare your ice bath for shocking your eggs after cooking. Great. Start. And that's it. All I need to do is press go on the machine. So while the eggs are cooking, I'm going to go ahead and cut up my green onions for the miso tamarind broth and the garlic scapes for the chicken scallion and ginger one. So let's go ahead and just get all these cut up. The eggs are all done, and I've just put those in some cold water to stop the cooking. And then I've poured the marinade broth which smells really good, just out into a bowl here. So all I'm going to do is lightly crack those eggs, and then I just have a little silicone lid, which I'm going to rest on top, and I'm going to just have those sort of rest while I'm getting the next part ready. And then when this cools down completely, I will go ahead and transfer that to the container that I'm going to leave them in and get them in the fridge. Okay, I had to make a couple little changes. I needed a container that was taller and narrower in order for the amount of broth that I had made to actually cover everything. And then it still didn't cover them all. So there's actually only 4 eggs in here. And I had to add some more hot water to get that to kind of top up to cover that last egg. So this is still open because it's hot. And then once it is cooled down completely, I'll go ahead and close that. And this will work, I think, really well for keeping it in the fridge. I've done pickled eggs in these jars before. So that's the plan for this. We're just going to set that aside. I've got my little mushrooms soaking and those soaking. So the first of the ramen broths that I'm going to try and make is this one. Now, this is just 2 cups of water and what turned out to be a tablespoon and a half of the consommé. So it is basically just like a chicken bouillon powder. That's all it is. And ingredient-wise, potato starch, MSG, you know, and obviously if you don't do MSG, then don't buy it. But this one, Kroger actually had it on sale, which was great. And it's 20 calories for 1 1/3 teaspoons. I wasn't sure. I just kind of put a tablespoon in there, tasted it. I thought, you know what, it can actually be a little bit stronger. So I put another half tablespoon in there. That's good. So that's what I have of the consommé. And again, that's because this particular stock, while I like it from the ingredient standpoint, it doesn't have a whole lot of flavor in it. So this is Aldi's brand. It's 10 calories a cup. And basically you have, that's your ingredient panel for this. I'm not quite sure how much is left in this box, so I'm going to measure it out as I put it in there. But since I'm just kind of trying this is what experimenting is all about. I'm kind of guessing quantities. So there's 2 cups of the consommé with water. I think there's going to be pretty close to 2 cups of stock. And then I don't know about this wine. It's like, I don't know how much. I opened it and smelled it, and it's not super, super strong like some of the Chinese cooking wines can be. I think I'm going to start with probably 1/4 cup, and I'll taste it and see what I think. And then I might put some more in as we go. And then this is the garlic scapes. So I'm basically going to use all of those. Now what I'm going to do is put all of this into, I've just rinsed out the liner, so I'm going to put all of that into the Instant Pot, and I'm going to start this one 20 minutes on low because it's nothing, it's just a liquid base and the scapes will cook in that. So 20 minutes on low and then a natural release, which is probably going to be about 15 or 20 minutes. We'll taste it, see if it needs any kind of flavor development, and go from there. So there was just under 2 cups of stock left in the box. I thought I had used 2 cups for a previous recipe. So I have 2 cups of the consommé water mixture, 2 cups of stock. I put 1/4 cup of the wine, then all the garlic scapes, and I decided that it probably needed a little bit of cracked black pepper, so I put some of that in there as well. And we're going to put this on, and we'll see what it's like in probably about 35-40 minutes. So everything is either on or soaking. So I have the mushrooms soaking, the tea eggs are soaking. I have all those interesting contents of the beauty soup soaking, and then I have the first of the broths in the Instant Pot. So I'm going to have a little bit of breakfast. This is the rice pudding that I made yesterday. There's 2 servings in here, so I'm going to have half of this. And then I have 89 grams of banana, and I'm going to add 10 grams of the crunchy toasted coconut chips, and just have that as a little breakfast bowl. I decided, since everything would be white otherwise, the pudding and the banana and the coconut, that I was just going to color my rice pudding just so it was pretty. So this is going to be late breakfast. Well, my day has just radically changed. So this is what I used to make the rice pudding purple. And I only used a couple of drops of it. It's a new product that I ordered on Amazon. Here's the deal. For those of you that don't know, I have an autoimmune disorder called mast cell activation syndrome, MACAS. And that's where all of my reactivities come from. So I had eaten maybe 2 tablespoons. Sorry. Of the rice pudding, and I started having a reaction. And in my case, in the case of this specific reaction, my tongue has gone numb, and I get like a glassy roof of the mouth. And then my eyes have gotten all itchy and swollen. I can't feel the tips of my fingers. And I've got pins and needles in my feet, which all of that's pretty standard when there is a reaction. So, over the entire serving of rice pudding, there were maybe 3 drops of this in total. And then I only ate about 2 tablespoons of that whole thing. And it has hit me like a freight train. So, unfortunately, there's not a lot that I can do about this. There's nothing that I can take that will stop it. I just have to ride it out. So, I am going to push pause on things for a little bit. I am going to lie down, maybe take a nap, see if I can kind of sleep through the worst of this, and then we'll see how I feel in a couple of hours. But my guess is that I'm going to finish up what I have in the Instant Pot now, and then I'm going to leave the other stuff probably for tomorrow. And this lovely little thing is going to have to go in the trash. Phew. So it is 7:30, which is about 3.5 hours since I had that reaction. And wow, for such a tiny amount, that was rough. Oh. So I basically I left this sitting in the Chef IQ and just kind of left it with the lid on. It wasn't still on or anything. Oh, and I just laid down and watched some TV. I'm watching The Following. Yeah, which is like a Kevin Bacon, and it's about a serial killer named Joe Carroll. So I watched some of that and just kind of hung out a little bit. But I want to try and get some of this finished tonight. So anyway, let's see. I will say, in terms of like eating anything today, no. So I've tracked the little bit of rice pudding that caused all this problem. But I'm just gonna count the rest of the day as like a fasting day. So I definitely don't feel like anything. I want to try this and see what this is like. It's not hot anymore. All right, so let's see. So that's kind of our consistency there. See if I can do this without dripping it all over the table. It'll probably be much better when it's warm. But that's good. It's a little peppery, but I think once I have vegetables and noodles and everything like that in there, that it'll chill that out. And so this is almost completely cold now. I'm just going to put that in my jar, and then I'm going to get the next one on. I want to try and still finish both of these other ones tonight if I can. And even though I'm not going to make the noodles, it'll be nice to have them sort of done. All right, so let's do this miso tamarind one. Okay, first things first, I took 2 cups of hot water and I dissolved some miso paste and some of the tamarind soup powder into that, because I'm going to do 4 cups, and so I've already done 2 cups and I have that in there. Then let's look at these mushrooms. So they are nice and soft now, and I'm going to add those with the liquid and everything in there. And then I have the green onion tops that I cut up earlier. So I'm going to, now with miso paste, let me see, I'm going to need both hands. So hang tight a second. I'm going to put you on the stand so I can show you what I'm doing. Okay. So miso paste, or at least this particular one, basically looks like that. And there's a lot of different ways that you can do it. There is actually a little miso tool, but it's very similar to a small whisk. And so you just can get a bunch of miso. I'm not going to measure that exactly. That's probably about a tablespoon. And miso doesn't dissolve particularly easily. So let me turn this around here. It tends to stay clumpy for a while, so you have to mix that up pretty well. So I'm going to go ahead and put the tamarind in there as well. And again, it's just a by eye sort of thing. You could absolutely measure it out if you wanted to. Okay, let me get this all dissolved and stirred up, and then we'll put everything together. Okay, it's not perfect, but it will further dissolve as it cooks. So that's another 2 cups of that. And then we're going to put in our green onions. They've been sitting a little while, so they're sticking. And then we're going to put in our mushrooms, including the juice. And that's it for this one. So okay, let's have a look. So this is everything getting ready to go on. And I'm going to do this the same as the other one. 20 minutes, low pressure, and then... Actually, because of the mushrooms, I'm going to do 30 minutes, low pressure, and then natural release. Okay, So I have that on, and that'll be, by the time it comes up to pressure, because everything in there was cold, so let's say 10, 30 minutes, 20 minutes. So it'll be about an hour before that one is finished. And then there's this one. I just smelled it as I brought it over to the table, and I really think that I am not gonna like this. So I should preface this by saying, tea smells beautiful. I love the smell of tea, but I don't like it. I have tried, we used to have a Teavana, so you can get these beautiful fresh teas. I've tried green and black and chai and English breakfast, and I don't like it. I don't like it hot. I don't like it cold. I feel like the whole green eggs and ham. So smelling this, that's kind of what it smells like. It smells like it's going to be like a tea. And I was having a look at what's in here, and it's very pretty. This is the juju, which is like the Chinese date, and then there's some of the ginseng, and then this is the sea coconut, and then those pieces are the yam. And for all, there's some of the almonds and things like that. There's a bit of the orange peel. Okay. So my thought is that I'm really not going to like this. So I'm going to just try a little bit of it now. Before I do anything. I don't know that it'll taste much different when it's hot, but so this has just been soaking for, let's see, I probably put this on about, I think I probably started soaking this about 2, and it's, 7:30ish now, so it's been soaking for a while. All right, I'm not going to have a lot. I'm a wuss. I don't think this is going to be particularly pleasant, but okay. Here goes. After one bad food experience today, I'm really not keen on another one. All right, let's see. Oh. Okay. Honestly, that is revolting. I mean, like, oh, that is bad. Whew. And something in it. Maybe my tongue is still messed up from that, from the reaction from before, but I have an immediate, the end of the front half of my tongue is got like spiky, when your foot goes to sleep and you get the kind of marching ant feel, that's what's happened to the front of my tongue. Which is normally a precursor of a reaction, so it could just be leftover from before, but this absolutely does not taste nice enough for me to continue seeing if there's something in here that I react to as well. So, yeah. No. This would be a hard pass. A hard pass. I sent Tracy a message to see if she wanted me to save it for her. She has to get up for work at 3 a.m., so she hasn't seen it yet, but I thought it was funny. Okay, so I've hit the wall. I need to finish up this. So this is 30 minutes and then a natural release. Sorry about the reflection there. So let's see. Oh, okay. I was like, wow, that's a really weird color. So there we go. So once you stir that up, that's what we've got there. There's our mushrooms. Okay. So let's first see what this is like. Just the soup on its own. And I don't see a whole lot of steam. So Hopefully this will be cool enough to just try. Let's see. Okay. It's not bad. It's not great. I need to try. I might have to add something to it. So let's see. I was guessing about the mushrooms. So let me see how done this is. Okay. So that's okay. But it can actually cook longer. So I think what I'm going to do... Hang on. Let me put you on pause. Okay. So I'm going to add some umami powder. That is, it's a shiitake mushroom powder. And in this particular bag, I don't have a whole lot left in there. So we're going to, if I can do this with one hand, just going to put that in there. And give that a stir. And then I think I'm going to put this back on because the mushrooms could actually do with some more cooking. So I'm going to put this on for another, let's go another 20 minutes with natural release. And that should be good. All right. I'm ready for this day to be over. I'm just done. So, here's what we have. Tea eggs. I hope and think that they're going to be good. This is the chicken and garlic scape broth. And this, which is still quite hot, or still quite warm, is the mushroom miso one. So it looks like it's gonna separate a lot. I don't know what's actually separating, but there's our sort of mushrooms there. And let's see if I can get a little bit of broth out. See if I can not drip on the table. Okay. Let's taste. Oh, that's much better. Ooh, dang, that's good. That's very good. That's like, could just drink that straight kind of good. Yeah, one more. Yeah, that's perfect. I wasn't too sure with the, before I put that umami seasoning in there, I didn't know if it was going to be okay, if it was just going to be, you know, yeah. But that's actually really good. I think I'm going to use that one to do my next noodle bowl. But right now, I am going to close out my night here. The recap will be extremely short because the only thing that I've had today is the couple of bites of rice pudding and the couple of spoonfuls of broth. So, I am going to hopefully be fully recovered tomorrow. I have no idea what I'm going to do or get up to. We'll see. All right. Thanks again for joining me, and I will talk to you tomorrow. All right, I've taken my pills, I'm laying down, snug as a bug in a rug, and here is our very, very short recap. My pretty, but very dangerous pudding. And the only thing I did,
Other than, just kind of wandering around here. I did my mailbox walk this morning before I felt bad. And there we go. There was my food reaction to the ube flavoring. So this is what we finished out looking like. Obviously, nothing is where it should be, but that is what it is. So there is today, and we'll see what happens tomorrow.